Welcome back. In between the parts, I've done several little battles here and there. Also, I could open up this star door here, because it requires us doing 100 battles, which I've most definitely done now, so... Those who have not proven themselves in battle are not worthy of stepping inside. Should you wish to be deemed worthy, struggle through 100 battles. Only then shall the door open. I'll open up. Let me in. Star Chamber. Do you like the design of these rooms? I shall grant you a memory fragment of my blessing. Whose memory fragment, though? It didn't require people, so... Enclosed is a report on the damage dealt the former principality of North Ambria by the Salt Pale. Oh, yes, here we go. All excited now. Also contained within is research on the Pale itself. Oh, yes. Holy City of Alteria, Congregation for the Sacraments. No, just Congregation for the Sacraments. Salt Pale Research Report, Ries Argent. I hereby present this report to you, Your Holiness, ever at the side of the goddess. This report contains classified information and may only be read by those with the clearance to do so. Certain sections of the utmost secrecy have also been blacked out. Progression of events after the Pale's appearance. July 1st. 1178, 5:45 a.m. An urgent report came in from Halias Cathedral in the then Principality, now a state, of North Ambria in northern Zemuria. It stated that a giant white pillar, so tall it appears to kiss the clouds, had appeared on the outskirts of the city. Bishop Alexei, I think that's how you say it, the one who sent the report, behaved as if extremely unsettled by what was happening. By urgent order of the committee, 2 knights of the Growlsritter, the 8th Dominion, aka the Roaring Lion, and a squire, both of whom were working on another mission in a nearby nation, were dispatched to perform a formal investigation. They hurried to the scene with the 8th Macabre, still not sure on that one, unit. Please note that the Macabres had only recently been put into use at this point. They arrived promptly, and at 6:22 a.m., this was what they saw. Oh my. Now, is that question like, it looks like it's like properly like burst from the ground, doesn't it? Like something happened underground. Enclosed is a photograph. The object now known as the Salt Pale. At this point, however, it was far larger than the term pale would suggest. It was more akin to a massive tower that soared hundreds of arch into the air. The 2 knights provided the following observation regarding the situation on their arrival. We were met with a mighty hailstorm blowing in our direction from Haliask, or so it appeared at first. We eventually realized the storm contained not ice, but salt. The object's surface is completely covered with salt, making it impossible to tell what it may actually look like underneath. The surrounding air had become powdered salt, and it falls to the ground like snow falling on a tundra. The spread of the salt process was startlingly rapid, and the affected area spread in the blink of an eye. By the time the Growlsritter arrived, the entire landscape of the capital had turned to salt, and the lives of many who lived there, like the aforementioned Bishop Alexei, had already been lost. Oh, that's right near the top. Yet the spread did not stop there. A day after the Salt Pale first appeared, a vast coniferous forest zone north of the capital crystallized and collapsed. Bridges also collapsed, rendering all of the main highways out of the city unusable. Please note that by this point, then ruler Prince Balmond had already fled the country to a nearby nation. 2 days passed since the Pale's appearance. By this point, roughly half of the entire principality had become a sea of salt. Countless refugees had fled to the southern side of the country because the river Grieve stood between it and the affected area. Finally, 3 days after the Pale's appearance, a solidification process stopped at dawn. As a result, the Knights were able to advance on the capital of Haliask with the hope of investigating the Salt Pale. That afternoon, they finally reached it. What they found looked completely different from how the Pale had before when they first arrived in Northumbria. So it shrunk in size in some regard. This is fascinating. This is what I was after. I was like, yes. In the center of the salinified area, they found an object that was a mere 2.5 arch in height. Its surface was no longer blanketed in salt, rather it looked like something had been carved out of it. It is now believed that the Pale's mass decreased as the salinification process progressed. You know what it sounds like to me? Is magnesium and aluminium, or aluminum to those overseas. But yeah, magnesium and aluminium. You go look up like that up online. Go look for videos of that. And the way it's like, it sort of becomes like an alloy and just spreads, is the best way to put it. It just spreads. I'm wondering if it's something like that in some regard. In a smaller state, the Pale had lost its power to turn swathes of the country to salt, but its ability to salinify was still very much intact. Anything that touched it, even for a millisecond, was instantaneously turned into salt. It's of the utmost importance to handle it with care. In order to complete the mission without physical contact, Grausritter required the use of the sacred tool Gleipnir, which was delivered to them from the high seat in Arteria. Since then, it has been kept closely sealed away deep within the high seat of Arteria. Still, while the recovery mission was ultimately deemed a success, the damage already caused was equally vast and significant. No damage to the surrounding nations was reported, but it resulted in the destruction of 3 of the 5 administrative districts of the Principality, including its capital. Over a third of the total population, along with travelers from elsewhere, lost their lives. This is to say nothing of the emotional damage caused. Due to its sudden outbreak, the hearts of the Northumbria's people were overwhelmed with fear and uncertainty. From a humanitarian and religious perspective, a swift response from the Septian Church was all but necessary. The decision was made to dispatch personnel to the region right away, and upon arrival, they set about rebuilding the damaged churches and healing of both the physical and mental wounds of the people. Those who were left orphaned in the crisis were taken into the gospel facilities, where they would be cared for until adulthood. The northern region of the country, which had been turned entirely to salt, was placed under the church's control. It has been a restricted area ever since. Oh. Jaegers, I assume? Supplementary notes. After some time, the country's former leader, Prince Balmont, attempted to rebuild the government. But given that he had fled the country during its hour of need, caring only for himself and not his people, all authority he once had was gone. The following year, the country's people led an armed uprising, and the Principality of Northumbria was no more. Eventually, elections were held, and the country became a democracy, thus bringing about the birth of the autonomous state we know of now. This was also when the former Principality's armed forces reformed as a vigilante corps. Given the extreme poverty of the state, however, the majority of said corps considered gathering foreign currency to be of the utmost importance. This was how the large-scale Jaeger Corps, known as the Northern Jaegers, was first established. There you go. As far as the rest of Zemuria is concerned, this is where the tale of the Salt Pale ends. That's pretty much what I know, so what's going on here? But a number of very important questions still remain unanswered. Perhaps the most obvious of these is where it came from. That is the one thing for me here. Despite the considerable size of the object, and that it appeared on the outskirts of a populated city, no information is available regarding the moment it first appeared. The most popular theory is that its appearance was due to something akin to spatial translocation. But no hard evidence exists to support this. or any other theory. Of more importance, however, is its position in the teachings of the Septine Church. Why? The Pale is clearly different in nature to artifacts and appears to be a more fundamental manifestation of the goddess's power of creation. Committee report. With the limits of our knowledge at present, this is as far as we can get to the truth. There are some proposed it may be one of the Septarians, all 8, but no evidence has been found in legend or scripture to support this belief. Nevertheless, these questions and many others need answering, and the Congregation for the Sacraments continues to study the Salt Pale to this day. The most accepted proposal comes from those who believe the Pale should be seen as nothing more than a gift from Adios. What a hell of a gift! And they continue to consider various means for her church to make good use of it. Like, oh, look at all the salt we've got! Yay! Oh, they actually are using it. Oh. Intriguing. So that's what Kevin did. Got it. The most realistic of these plans is using it in the manufacture of a sacred tool used for execution. Parts of the Pale are cut away using high-pressure water and then surrounded with a cylinder made from salt crystal, allowing them to be fired directly into the target without requiring the user to make direct contact. Should the bolt make successful contact with a human target, their whole body would turn to salt, killing them in mere seconds. So the Salt Pale is essentially responsible for what happened to Weissman. Why he turned to salt, why he died, why he was just, turned to powder. And this is how, that's fascinating. I like this. There are no known means for reversing or stopping the process. This approach does not come without flaws. It seems unwise to be careless with an object we still do not understand the nature of, for one thing. There are also humanitarian concerns with executing someone in this manner. Still, it does bear mentioning that should there ever be a case where a target needs to be eliminated without fail, this would be the most surefire way to carry it out. Is this what was actually delivered to Kevin then, in the previous game? That would make sense as well, wouldn't it? Because I don't think anything was delivered to him in order to help with the stigma issue regarding Joshua. So I imagine this is what was delivered. It should go without saying that research on it is intended to continue into the future. That's fascinating. Appendix regarding the aforementioned sacred tool. Trial use begins with the sacred tool. Top secret work only. Okay. Permission granted to use in the execution of Weissman. Used in the execution of Weissman, fired from Bogan. Results were extremely favorable. No damage was caused to the surrounding area. The target was also successfully erased. Appendix about the target. The target, Weissman, was orphaned by the Salt Pale when it first appeared. We knew it was from Northumbria. Brief history of is as follows. S1180 joins the Septine Church. 1185 joins the Congregation of the Sacraments as an official. 1190 promoted to bishop. 1195 declared a heretic and excommunicated from the church. Side story. The Salt Pale finished. Ooh, Petrify. Well, that makes sense that we got Petrify from that, to be honest. That is a good one to get from that. That's fascinating, because it's like, okay, it explains a bit more about what's going on with Kevin at the end there and what he did to Weissman. That's cool. Also, it's like, where did the Salt Pale come from then? The way it's described, it's like, it feels, based on everything that's going on here, did it come from something like a pocket dimension? Like, is there a dimension of salt? Is the one way of putting it. And it was like something opened up and it poured out as a pillar. Like, is it like a tear in the fabric of reality to somewhere else? So if we're going with this idea that there is like planes of existence, maybe there's like a barrier protecting them. And like there's just an opening there and something poured out from another plane of existence. And that itself is the Salt Pale. It came through and it's like a dam breaking. I imagine like a dam, and you just chipped away it a little bit, it would burst water out. It'd be like a jet of water. So maybe in this regard, it was a jet of salt, which would essentially look like a pillar. Alright, so now we're back here once again with one of these star doors from the looks of it. We've got Josette, so we've been waiting for her here. Bring to me the only girl in a band who takes to the skies. Only then shall the door open. Yes. So many thoughts racing through my head about the salt pail. The first time seeing one of these rooms, I'm assuming it's pretty much the same. There's a bird there. There's another bird. Do the other ones have birds? I don't remember them having birds or any, or bats, I suppose. I shall grant you a memory fragment and my blessing. But these ones are mini-games, that it said. And you had long stories, short stories, mini-games. Western Calvert, bordering Liberl. 2,200 arge above ground level. Oh, careful, I want to hit the camera. I love this piece of music. Feels like home. Like the same way I am with like Ereboni and stuff like that now. It's like, it's got that feeling of like, I belong here, you know. Valeria Lake's visible on the other side of the mountain range, which means we're almost at the border. Right on schedule too. Reduce our speed to 60%, Kyle. Keep our course and altitude the same. You got it. Reducing speed to 60%. Course and altitudes, both good to go. Alright, we're looking good. Now all we need is to stay this course and we'll be there in no time. Phew. Time for us to kick back and relax, finally. Good job, guys. It's good to know we should be able to make this delivery on time, too. You're telling me. The Capua delivery service is all about trust, reliability, and happy customers. Without those, we've got nothing. Still can't believe this is actually our thing now, though. Same here. None of this would have been possible if Queen Alicia hadn't pardoned us either. I don't think I've ever been as shocked as I was when I found out we were off the hook for everything. I know, right? How she paid off our debts with her own funds? She's the reason we can keep this baby here and keep on flying. She is amazing, isn't she? No one can take the bobcat away from us now. And there's nothing in this world big enough to pay off our debt to her. Damn straight. Still, the least we can do is pay her back the money she used on our behalf. At the rate we're going, we should be squared away on that front in no time. Oh, sounds like we got ourselves a new job to help with that. Hello, you've reached Capua Delivery Service. Yes, I see. Tomorrow morning, then? Certainly. Absolutely. Alright, we'll see you then. So I was right, then. Where from? From Calvert, actually. Someone wants a small parcel delivered to Gransel. If it's Gransel, you can take care of that the day after tomorrow. Man, who would have guessed business would be booming when we started the company up? Makes sense, though. And there aren't any other delivery companies out there who can offer the kind of flexibility we do. Oh yeah, speaking of the capital, I've been meaning to ask. What were you doing in the guild there this morning, Don? I just remembered it, but it did have me wondering at the time. Oh, right. You've actually got a little something to do with that. I do? Yeah, see, someone sent a letter to us from over in the Empire. Here's the best part. That someone was none other than Joshua. Really? She broke her knees. Now there's something we don't hear from often. Someone. I can't believe you took this long to mention this. I wanted to hear, like, right away. My bad, this morning was just so busy it slipped my mind. Anyway, why don't you do the honors for us and read it out loud? With pleasure. Ah, I hate it when people just read text out loud. Josette excitedly took the envelope from Dom. 1 second. I forgot how Joshua was going around the Empire right now. What he's getting up to. Yeah, where he is in the country. Certainly not near Thor's. That's a damn big place after all. Well, wherever he's at. Hope he's doing alright for himself. What's the hold up, Gisette? You gonna read that letter or not? 7 AM. Antique artwork. Huh? What? That's not what it says, is it? Yes, it is. Because this isn't a letter, this is a receipt for this morning's delivery. What? No way. It's also the one that should have been given to the person we delivered it for their records. You're kidding me. Ugh. I've got a really bad feeling about this. Triple dot. The letter from Joshua was in an envelope from the Empire. And so was the receipt this morning. Which means... I'm so sorry, Gisette. Must have gone and attached the letter to the parcel by mistake. Exclamation. Oh boy. Anyway, I'll get in touch with the client right away. You should still have it, so if I let them know it's ours... Oh god, she's bubbling. I should be able to get it back. You dummy. How could you go and screw something this important up? How? Do you have any idea how happy I was when I heard Joshua had sent us that letter? And then you... Gisette, I really am sorry. This one's completely on me. You've got every right to be mad. Oh, it's always on you. Always been the sloppy one. The one who makes stupid mistakes and screws everything up. It's always the rest of us who suffer for it. You know that, don't you? Yeah, I do. Hold on a minute, Gisette. We still might be able to get that letter back, you know? No need to be that hard on him. You stay out of this. Hell. We only became Sky Bandits in the first place because of you screwing things up. If you hadn't gone and dumped into signing that contract, things would have been different. You have any idea how much... Gisette. I get that you're mad, but there's no need to drag that up. John regrets what happened enough as it is. Besides what? No, she's right. That was all my fault, just like this is. I've been smarter instead of getting suckered in, but I've never been driven from our home. Leaves. Oh. Now look what you've done. Some things are best left undiscussed. That's definitely one of them. I wonder if we've actually been in this building. It makes sense that we would have been. If it wasn't for me, we'd still be back in our ancestral home living a life of luxury. Drinking high-class tea, playing music, getting called to fancy parties from time to time, being offered the opportunity to open up a university nearby. But nah, had to go and ruin it all for us. Hey now, I've got no attachment to our old lives, you know? It's all in the past. I would have had a kitty. I had to get greedy and fall for the obvious trap right in front of me. Because of that, we lost everything we had and ended up with nothing but a mountain of debt in return. Lost everything our ancestors had built up just like that. If there's a bigger idiot out there than me, I've sure never met him. Not like you deserved all the blame, Don. You might have been partly responsible, but so were we for being such naive kids. That's not the point, Kyle. Still comes down to me at the end of the day. Come on, back me up here, Gisette. What's going on? We've got trouble, boss. What is it? We've got one of those red ships on our tail? For the societies, weren't they? No way. That's not good. Don, I got it. We can't afford to focus too much on them. Our number one priority is protecting our cargo. We need to focus on shaking them off. Yes, sir. You hear me, lads? Got ourselves an emergency. Get ready for battle. We've got all jobs to do. Do them. Oh, Gilbert. The bobcat, huh? You familiar with it? You could say that. Surprised by what I'm seeing here, though. Last I saw them, they were sky bandits, but it looks like they're running a delivery service now. Really now. Talk about simpletons. Anyway, looks like they have no interest in fighting us. Let's just leave them be. Not so fast. Have you forgotten our mission? Let's say they're the perfect target for carrying it out, wouldn't you? Wait, you pulling my leg, right? Attacking them? We need to test whether they operate properly today. There's no reason to actually use them in combat. Please, my comrade. You're never going to move up the ranks with that attitude. If our target was a Royal Army ship, I'd agree with you. It's just an isolated ship full of ex-bandits. There's no risk to be had here. Well, I suppose that's true. Besides, the 13 factories want accurate combat data. There's no way we're going to get punished for doing this. We might even earn ourselves a nice reward. Alright, talk a good game. But if this thing backfires, you're taking responsibility for whatever happens. Good luck, Gilbert. Did you see it, Josette? Yeah, I saw it, but... But what? It's not alone. There are a bunch of weapons I've never seen before with it. And they're coming this way. They really want to fight, huh? Focus on firing at them from the rear to fight them off, Josette. Got it. Alright, machine gun model? Mode enabled. Everything in order? Yep. I'll get right to work. Oh, Capua Express Delivery Service. For inquiries, please contact your nearest branch. Couple up with Capua and we'll take your package anywhere, anytime. And that's a promise. We're fast, we're reliable. You can always count on Capua. Fair enough. I like how the bobcat's actually a bobcat. At the top, there. That's what a bobcat roughly looks like. Settings? Ooh. Okay, sensitivity's that. Well, I'm actually going to treat this as a point where we can end this part. In the next part, we'll do Capua Express Delivery Service. For inquiries, please contact your nearest branch. They have branches? I don't know. See you next part. Ta-ta for now.